So welcome. Thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having us.
It's good to be here, dude.
Yeah, as you know, as good as you can be with no sleep for the last 24 hours, but feeling great about listening to our new songs.
So how was it working with Bob Rock?
Oh, it was amazing. I mean, I think that...
Did you have much stuff sketched out? As you said, you know, that was one of the tracks that you kind of pulled into shape first, but were you working in the studio on stuff with him there, or...?
We were working on all different stuff prior to the first day that we worked with Bob. We had like a breakfast meeting with Bob where it was kind of a discussion of what is the record going to be, what's the vibe and all that. And then as soon as that was done, we all kind of went in our own separate directions and said, let's all write our own pieces and then come back together with Bob so we can kind of have a collaborative effort there. But like Ashley and Jake and Jinx got together and started writing different elements. I had been working on just different stuff that, you know, lyrics and melodies and stuff that I had backstock from when we finished the last record that I thought maybe I could rehash, a lot of which we wound up scrapping, but there was, you know, a few elements here and there that came together through the process. And what we found was that Bob was so instrumental in helping us learn how to really craft songs and take elements of what we had prior to that and really like an orchestrator. I mean, he showed us a great deal about what it's like to the craft of songwriting.
Right. Something we never did before we did with him was we started in the pre-production space where we actually were jamming out the songs like live, you know, before. We never did that before. You know, we just started recording right away. So again, like you said, he was orchestrating a lot with us and, you know, seeing what worked, what didn't, making changes here. And that's how we kind of fell with our tone and the sound that we were going for, was by that process in the beginning.
Is there like a concept that runs through the record, like with Wretched and Divine? Or
there really isn't. And one of the big things going into this was that we didn't really want necessarily like a call to arms or any kind of like story. It's more just shooting from the hip. You know, the lyrics and the content on the record are very much about personal subjects. It was fun for me lyrically to write about things as they were affecting me or things that were going on in my life, and trying to have a more cathartic experience with the record. The one problem that I've had in my career in writing lyrics or anything else is that I never feel like I really get to exhaust an emotion through the songs that we do, because we've always had such a very specific concept, or the songs have a very specific stylized thing.
Yeah.
And on this one it was a lot about, you know, not necessarily pessimistic, but the reality of life and kind of the things that can't be fixed or the things that aren't necessarily as constantly hopeful or happy. I think that in some ways the tone is that there's an acceptance that you have to have that sometimes you will fail or fall, and it's the feeling that you have that you may want to continue, and the feeling with it inside, I think innately in all of us, that has some amount of passion that continues your drive or makes you want to go on to tomorrow. So in that regard there is definitely hope and there's positivity in there, but it's a lot less of a let's go to battle, let's whatever. It's a lot more introspective in that regard.
Riffs.
I think in some ways our last record, though it was definitely successful for us and helped us a lot in our career, it created not only an artistic divide, but also there was just a divide within the band because it was such an arduous process to make it. And I think we overshot in some ways, and I think that as a band we weren't as involved in the collaboration cohesively. And so there's definitely resentments that everybody had, and I think that going into this record was our coming back over the hill in a way, and we're closer now as friends and as people that get to spend all their time together and have fun together than I think we've been probably in 5 years or 6 years.
Yeah, those challenges were met, like we were speaking about on that last record, and this one sort of brought us back together for sure. It was more the camaraderie aspect, because we were together all the time. We got out of our element. We left Los Angeles to make most of the record in Vancouver.
Yeah.
And we were just housed together 24/7. So we got back to feeling like we were kids again and spending every moment together, where we were like either creating music or we were out drinking or we were out going to a show or whatever it was. We really got back together as a group.
That can be a real make or break thing, can't it, as well, I think. I mean, a lot of people probably don't realise how insular touring can be, for example, when everyone feels like they're living on top of each other, and they're the moments that really can define a band as well, coming through that, because when people look at a band from the exterior, everything looks so glamorous, and yet they don't seem to realise that everybody is just...
And particularly in a climate where, you know, it's not necessarily, it's a kind of an antiquated genre when it comes to popular opinion. So when you're working in a world where we all exist and have this great thing that we love, and it does well for our careers, we're so fortunate in that regard that we get to make rock music in 2014. But a lot of the world doesn't necessarily understand how difficult it is really to strive as a rock band, and how difficult it is to maintain that, because you're not getting Lamborghinis and giant homes and everything else. And so for us, it really has to be about unity, and I think that that's one of the biggest things that even our friends in bands have to face. And the difficulty is that you really got to like the people that you're around, because it's not in the cards right now for everybody to have a million different buses and planes and stuff. You really got to be around these people all the time, and fortunately, we get along very well.
You're going to be here when? October 3rd is the first date, right?
Yeah.
And then the record comes out at the end of that month.
Yes. Part of making this record and doing it the way we did, we got very nostalgic about certain songs and things we'd never played live. And so really on this tour, not only were we going to be playing 5 or 6 new songs, we're also going to be playing songs that from our first record, second record, EP, that were never played live and done live. So the goal is to try to really span the last 5 or 6 years of the band and really try to give the fans not just the same set list, because it's difficult when you tour so extensively all the time, to have people be interested in coming to the shows. And at the end of the day, that's really the most important part, is putting on a show that's fun for an audience and that you're involved in as well. It's hard for us to be on stage and play the same material over and over again. So trying to bring stuff back, playing songs that sometimes, and this, you get sick of something. Even though you love it, you get sick of something over time. So a song like Knives and Pens or Sweet Blasphemy, these songs that were played a million times in our formative years, wind up becoming stale. And so now that they've been gone for a little bit, it's going to be a lot of fun to bring back a lot of those older songs. And then the new songs, obviously, they're near and dear to our hearts, so they're the newest, most exciting thing.
I look forward to seeing it. All right, well, thank you for coming in.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.